Thank you all for being here. Hi, Jessica. Christian and I are very humbled by this. And so we want to thank you for being here today. And we're going to talk a little bit about the story of the last 5 years, because it really, building this community started from a faint glimmer of hope. And we thought if we were going to, the theme really aligned with what we wanted to talk about. And we never thought we would actually be speakers at our own events. But it turned out that that might not be a bad idea. So good morning and welcome. I want to recognize and honor all of you for getting up at minus 27 with a wind chill and being here today to be in the warmth of community.
All right, well today, perfect, it's working. Today we want to tell you the origin story of how Winnipeg joined the global Creative Mornings community. So it's a community that started in 2008 and now boasts 255 chapters in over 70 countries around the world, including Iran and Sweden. This story, our story, started as, honestly, just a faint glimmer of hope.
But before we tell you how we got here, we thought we'd tell you why. In the fall of 2019, I longed for a spark, a creative community where I belonged to remind me of why inspiration matters. Podcasts kind of fed my curiosity, but nothing local really fit. I tried a lot of meetups. I tried to find a community that met my needs. And then Creative Mornings crossed my path in a podcast. And I realized a constellation of chapters around the world, but none were shining in Winnipeg. I looked on the list of all the cities around the world, and there was Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal and Calgary, and there was no Winnipeg on that list. And so I asked myself, if not me, then who? I reached out, and Christian was one of my first calls because I knew that he had a creative network that I did not. And he answered with immediate enthusiasm and connected us to others in his network that he thought might be interested. So on a cold October day in the fall of 2019, our small circle gathered at Creative Manitoba, some of whom are here today, and we dared to ask, what if? And others had talked about bringing Creative Mornings to Winnipeg, we found out at that meeting, but no one had actually followed through. So we did. And I offered to lead the application because they needed a chapter host. And if we got accepted, we would help design and lead the chapter together with the co-founders, me and Christian.
And for me, I've always needed community. I'm also a pretty casual person. I don't do suits, as you can tell. I don't carry business cards, sorry for those that ask. And I've never loved events with silverware. Creative Mornings, though, immediately felt different. It wasn't a stuffy kind of chamber lunch. It wasn't a scripted TEDx talk. It was and it wasn't some industry meetup where you have to belong to the right category to really feel welcome. It just sounded human. And yes, we do have name tags, but they're made on site with markers and glitter. So that's kind of all you need to know about that. So when Christine pitched the idea, I was immediately in. Joking aside, I was immediately in. And because if something really does help people feel connected, really without being formal or awkward, which I hope we've achieved here, I'm probably going to say yes. Still. Yeah. We were motivated. We had a solid startup team, we really did, and we were ready to lead. But still, Creative Mornings Winnipeg almost didn't happen. Not in a poetic way, like literally. There were several moments where the universe was like, sorry, no.
So Creative Mornings is built on something more than just technicals and computers. It's built on coffee and human connection. It's strangers becoming friends. It's hugs and high fives. It's real life interaction with real people. Which brings us to our most excellent timing. Because the plan was to submit, you'll remember that we met in person for the first time in the fall of 2019. Our plan was to submit our chapter application in the spring of 2020. So yeah, that 2020, the pandemic. And overnight, the very thing that Creative Mornings was all about, gathering in person, in real life, became impossible. Hugs and high fives turned into masks and nervous waving from 6 feet away. But we felt that people still craved community, perhaps even more than ever when we were sheltering alone in our houses. Virtual meeting technology was starting to get better, and we were determined to keep going. And then, Creative Mornings headquarters stopped accepting applications. You see, an essential part of the application process is for the chapter to submit a video application showing off the city and the support from the community and who the chapter host is and why the chapter host should be the one to lead the chapter for that city. And headquarters didn't want to put anybody or any of the new applicants or their partners in any danger by requiring a video. It just wasn't considered safe to do so. So we weren't allowed to meet in person, and we weren't allowed to take video in person. We weren't even allowed to become a chapter. So it was kind of like planning a party, and then the venue and the guests and the concept of parties all got canceled.
But there was still this tiny, stubborn spark. So we did the only thing we could do. We got creative. We respected the fact that headquarters didn't want anyone going out to film video, so we stayed home and we made an animated application video instead. Because apparently the best time to learn animation software is during a global pandemic. We're going to play that video for you if you haven't seen it. I need to press the button. Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
Did you have a video?
It should be a link. And if not, there's one in the chat just in case.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, I wasn't at it.
There you go. Switch screens. Good to go.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Watson,
Screen.
Vice President Academic at Red River College.
There you go.
There you go. Start from the beginning.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Watson, Vice President Academic at Red River College in Winnipeg, Manitoba. You may have heard about this place before. Maybe it was in a Week or Them song, or in an episode of The Office. But as one great city should, we have so much more to share. As a career educator, I've worked in leadership, teaching, and research positions all around Canada. And yes, I am a real person, but being animated lets me do cool stuff, like this. I moved to Winnipeg in 2013 and have been leading academic transformation at Red River College ever since. The college offers over 200 programs in all sectors of our very diverse economy in Manitoba, which means I've seen amazing creativity in trades, manufacturing, aerospace, business, healthcare, and IT, as well as the creative arts. I can't wait to invite all of our diverse industry partners to share their creative gifts. I love promoting good stories and have a YouTube video series called Where's Watson. It documents stories of staff, faculty, partners, and alumni of the college. In my personal life, I love mornings. I'm a member of the LGBTQ+ community, and I love to explore my own creativity. In fact, I recently completed a challenge to write a haiku each day for 100 days, and have been practicing for my next career, puppet master. Now my puppet and I are partnering with 12 talented steering committee members to bring Creative Mornings to Winnipeg to celebrate our collaborative and creative community. Much like our city, we're stronger together, even while we passionate weather the storm.
Creative Mornings, I'm Mayor Brian Bowman. Having been mayor of Winnipeg since 2014, I'm sure I have a few pictures of Winnipeg to share with you. Just let me get past these. Located on Cleveland territory, at the heart of the continent, Winnipeg is a city built on strong community ties. We're creative, welcomes all, and most importantly, we care. We're diverse. We uplift each other. We gather, we celebrate, we learn, and we create. Let's get one last movie before I head back to City Hall.
Say, what great city!
One great city.
Thanks, Mayor. Winnipeg is so much more than just a winter city. We're a city that chooses to thrive through every challenge. And the Creative Mornings chapter would be the perfect addition to our already creative landscape. Plus, with so many great restaurants and coffee shops around, we're always ready to take on the world. We can't wait to show you the magic of Winnipeg. Thanks for your consideration, Creative Mornings team. Looking forward to hearing from you.
All right.
You can tell that they asked me how I wanted to be portrayed as an application. And the reason that it's so focused on me is because part of the application process is about who the host is and whether the host has the connections that the chapter needs to actually build a community. So it's not ego-driven, it's more about who I was as a chapter host. To give kudos to Christian, who came up with the animation idea, and we worked with Red Moon Media to make that happen in COVID. So we submitted it. Even though they weren't accepting applications, we decided to submit it anyway. And it worked. We got their attention. And we had a chapter interview with the headquarters in New York City, which was a step in the application process. And we were the first chapter in the 12 years of Creative Mornings history that was approved in the interview. So we actually got news in the interview that they'd approved us.
And getting the mayor in studio without touching anything was quite interesting. So then, for over a year, we built community through screens, which is not ideal, especially when you're getting started, but it did mean you could attend in pajama pants, which, again, I enjoy.
Our first event was in January of 2021, in the middle of the pandemic. We didn't start because it was easy. We started because we needed something to look forward to. We needed to believe that there was still a reason and a need for people to connect. And then one morning, we were back to gathering in real life, IRL. And it felt almost surreal. Like, wait, are we allowed to be joyful together again? We still had masks, but there were big smiles behind those masks. So the high fives came back, the hugs came back, and the humans came back. And while I think we can all agree that virtual meetings can be incredibly useful and efficient, creative engagement is so much better in person, as we experienced today. So from spectacular storytelling to Vincent Bell's shadowology to kaleidoscopes today, over the years we've experienced so much joy from our creative engagement activities and our teams.
Our promise was, and still is, quite simple. Everyone is creative, and creativity includes everyone. And this chapter is intentionally inclusive because community only works if people actually feel welcome. We make a deliberate effort to recruit diverse speakers, performers, and volunteers. We attract retirees, students, entrepreneurs, educators, lawyers, writers, and for some reason, more than our fair share of clowns. And speaking of clowns, through it all, we had our volunteers. These are the people who kept the faint glimmer alive. And now they're our firekeepers. They plan, they communicate, they show up early, they capture moments, they carry things, they solve problems. They do the heroic work of making it look effortless. Well, maybe not effortless. Which is basically the Creative Mornings aesthetic. Warm, welcoming, and held together with duct tape behind the scenes. And it's thanks to our partners, our engine of generosity, that we can afford that duct tape. So here's the thing, Creative Mornings is always free. We can't sell tickets, we can't sell you coffee. So when we originally approached local partners, like Harrison's with the coffee, like the Forks, who was hosting us here today, we were basically saying, look, would you fund something you've never heard of, that we can't charge for, that's at 8 a.m. in Winnipeg? And shockingly, a lot of them said yes. So not because it was a marketing opportunity, we really saw it in their eyes, but because it was a community opportunity. They didn't sponsor an event, they sponsored and continue to sponsor a belief. And we really are grateful.
So it's been 5 years, and sustaining momentum is hard. Venues change, costs rise, people move on. The Winnipeg weather does what it wants. There were many mornings where Christian and I would stand there and think, is anyone going to show up today? And you did. You showed up every single time. We've had 60 events, and all of the pictures from those events are on the back wall. So if you happen to be a speaker or musician from a former event, please find your picture and take it home with you. And thanks to Gabrielle for printing them all. It was quite a journey down memory lane. We've had 20 different venues, dozens of local partners, nearly 2,000 chapter members that receive our newsletter every month, and 4,500 attendees. But honestly, our main emotion is still, how? How did this become real? I remember we were in one event and I got a text in the event from Christian saying, holy cow, we built this. The odds were stacked against us, so why did it work? Oh, still me.
It's the rehearsal.
Yeah, we did rehearse. Upon reflection, we think it comes down to a few simple ingredients. First, inclusion on purpose. We were one of the first Creative Mornings chapters to create an explicit commitment to diversity and inclusion, something that we read at every event and we talk about in every meeting. Not as a formality, but as a reminder. This community only works if people genuinely feel safe, seen, and welcome. And since then, other chapters around the world have asked for that statement and have adapted it for their own use in their own cities, which seems pretty surreal, but it was really important to our chapter to be the first.
And second, if you're taking notes, connection, not consumption. So from the beginning, we believed Creative Mornings couldn't just be a speaker series. It had to be a place where people could actually build relationships, a space for strangers to become friends. And I know I've made a lot of friends here. That's why we care so much about the conversations that happen before and after. These little moments really do add up.
And finally, shared inspiration. Because creativity, when it starts individually, thrives only when it's fed by community. Our monthly themes give us more than a topic, as you saw today. They give us a shared language. They give us a shared experience, a way to reflect, to express ourselves, and to be brave together.
The return that we get is not financial, it's inspiration, it's belonging. It's the feeling that you don't have to do the creative life alone. That's the power of community. So let's do something together one last time. Raise your hand if you've ever tried something that didn't go as planned. Raise your hand if you've ever Googled how to start a nonprofit monthly community event during a pandemic with no money.
Raise your hands if you were an early adopter and attended one of the early online meetings. I know Tamara asked this before, but I didn't see it, so I want to see. Look at that. Wow. Raise your hand if you're hardcore and have attended more than 20 of our 60 Creative Mornings events.
Hardcore.
Nice. Raise your hand if you're still getting hooked and you've attended 2 or more Creative Mornings events. Raise your hand if you're a first timer and you really want to come back now. Awesome. Raise your hand if your faint glimmer of hope recently has been heated rivalry. You can find your people. Just saying. All right. Hey, the Prime Minister has seen heated rivalry. Now raise your hand, all of you. Keep it up. Find another person and give them a high five for coming today.
High five.
Hey, high five. We didn't start Creative Mornings Winnipeg because we had everything figured out. We started because we needed a reason to hope. And if you take anything from our talk today, it's that you don't have to wait to build your own community. You just have to create the space and the invitation. And that's where Creative Mornings Clubs comes in. Because if you want to build your own community, Creative Mornings Clubs is a fantastic way to do that. Whatever you're interested in, a heated rivalry club. Make it happen. All you need is a space and an invitation. In a world where hope and light is needed more than ever, the world feels very dark right now. Sometimes, somehow, morning after morning, that faint glimmer has turned into a room full of people who care, who laugh, and who hope together about each other and the world we live in. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for proving that even in Winnipeg, even in January, even at 8 a.m., a community can be found dedicated to supporting each other to live a creative life, and that it's not only possible, but necessary.